Welcome back to another episode of Busy at Work. This is officially episode 3, and I'm really excited to have you here. I have a cool episode planned for today. I'm going to be discussing some new and fun products on the California and CBD market. I'll be going over some quick news in under 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and I'll also be going over EVERYTHING Clubhouse. I absolutely love that new app, and it's been amazing for networking, and would love to tell you guys how I best use it and how you can use it too, especially in the cannabis industry. It's just been absolutely amazing for connecting with others. So buckle up. It'll be a fun, quick episode, and I'm happy you're here. First, I have this Nano Select gummy. It's peach and strawberry. It's 20 milligrams, and it's like a bite size. So I'm excited to try it. It's supposed to taste really good, and Select has been doing a lot to revamp their brand and really get out there in front of different and new consumers in the CBD and THC market. So I think this is going to be a really smart product for them. And actually, this sweatshirt came from them too. It's super cozy. So thank you, Select, for both treats. I appreciate it. And then I have here, this is Nira. It's a CBD brand, and it is 750 milligrams of CBD. I'll open it up for you. This is a balm. I love using CBD balms for pain management. If you guys follow me or know, I have endometriosis and have to manage chronic pain in my day-to-day life. And so CBD salves have really helped me. I can see I've used a little bit. Definitely know, though, it's not like a cure-all my pain just melts away magically, but it does help add relief and just makes my day more manageable and my pain more manageable. So I'm really excited to show you this. This is from Drew Martin. They're 4 low-dose botanically infused pre-rolls, and it does have CBD and THC. Some of the pre-rolls include, so there's different ones in the collection. There's rose petal and peppermint, chamomile, yerba santa, and calendula, lavender, and passion flower. I feel like I'm gonna love that one. I'm so excited to try these. I haven't broken in yet. As you can see, I was saving it to show you guys. And I've already smoked. I use lavender sometimes when I smoke, and it's just really nice. A ton of people have made fun of me for putting lavender in like a bowl or a joint, but it's extremely relaxing. Next, I've got this big bag from Lowell Farms. They've been getting really, really intricate with their new product introductions. I haven't tried these yet either, but I've smoked a ton of Lowell and can definitely co-sign that brand. These are infused creative sativa joints, and it has hash in it. So these are going to be super flavorful. I'm really excited to give them a try. They also included, if you didn't know, Lowell does now sell eighths of flower, and it's in this beautiful packaging. Give myself some more room here. For anyone who's just listening to the audio, I just had like this massive stack of products next to me, and it felt kind of awkward, so I've got this bubble hash from Lowell as well. It smells incredible. You've always got to smell your product. Your nose knows. Amazing. Love that. And we love Lowell concentrates because they are solventless. And anytime we can get solventless extracts, I always try to go for solventless extracts. I just think they smoke better, they're better for you, they taste better. You get the whole plant, and you want the whole plant. That's what we're here for. So thanks for joining. Definitely let me know if you've tried any of these products before or have any other recommendations that I should be checking out. I'm always exploring new things, so drop them in the comments if you have any new recommendations for me. And next, I'm going to take a quick break and we'll get to a brief news segment. All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. You're listening to Busy at Work, episode 3, and we're about to hop into some light news and headlines in the cannabis industry. But I know that recently the news has not been light at all. So I'm going to try and get us past this as seamlessly and painlessly as possible. Because wow, what is going on? But good news from last week, which I know is hard to believe. After the Georgia state runoff election, we have flipped the Senate, and that could mean huge things for the MORE Act and cannabis legalization and decriminalization as a whole, which, I mean, that's incredible. We'll definitely have to keep eyes on what's happening there and what kind of movement takes place, because there's been a lot of controversy around the MORE Act and what it does and doesn't do. And a lot of people think that it could be stronger and advocate better for people who, have been so adversely affected by situations around the plant. So we'll see what happens there. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. I know that last week there were a lot of things going on, but this is definitely one of the headlines that kind of just snuck by on top of everything else that was already happening. And on top of that, from last week, Trump has been banned from just about every major social platform that you could be on the internet. Now, of course, the internet is a vast, vast place, and it's probably just like a very small percentage of, what he can actually access. But, it's an interesting precedent that sets, especially for those who create cannabis content or run cannabis businesses. What kind of reach do social media platforms have now, and what does that mean for censorship? It's just something to think about and keep an eye on as this year progresses, especially with what happens with Section 230. I was just speaking with a friend on the DMs about that, and she was teaching me a lot about it and essentially what it meant for us. And it's become a hugely partisan issue of Section 230 and what that means. And essentially, Section 230 is the law that protects technology companies, social media companies, from what people might post. So, like, you can't, go after Facebook or go after Instagram for things that I post on there, that someone might post on there. But that could change. And the Democrats and Republicans really want to see a shift with that law. But the way that they want to see a shift and what they want to see a shift on is where people have been butting heads. So we'll see if there's any movement there and how that could affect cannabis businesses in the long run. Because that brings me to my last very important headline. Cuomo came out and said that in the state of New York, he is looking to push adult recreational use, which is huge. In my opinion, once New York and New Jersey really get their shit together, I think that could be, one of the biggest cannabis capitals in the world, just because of how many people go through there, the amount of tourism once, all the COVID stuff dies down. There will just be so much opportunity there. It's insane. And so I think it's huge that Cuomo is moving forward with that and backing it, especially because all these states are going to need money after COVID. I see a lot of states moving toward adult recreational use to help, boost revenue for their states. But on the other hand, we're now keeping all eyes on New Jersey because that legislation has been stalled. So that means some hard stuff for New Jersey in the coming months, and just trying to figure out that landscape. There's still people being prosecuted and arrested for this. And they need to move forward there to make sure that everyone who's operating within this space is compliant in the eyes of the law. Wow. I know that I said that I was going to go over some light news, and now that I am wrapping that up, that was pretty heavy. So thanks for listening. I definitely think it's important to stay in the know on policy and all that stuff. I know, especially after this year, politics is the last thing people want to talk about, but it is so important to our industry. And if you just stay in the know and can stay on top of it, then it'll just make you and your business or whatever you're trying to do even more successful. If you have made it this far, I appreciate you. You are listening to Busy at Work, episode 3, and I am on my last segment, and I will be talking everything Clubhouse. Clubhouse is a brand new app. It's a social app, and it's voice only. And so basically, when you download the app, you see a hallway, air quotes for my audio only listeners, but you enter Clubhouse and you'll see a bunch of different rooms. It's kind of like Reddit meets a live interactive podcast. And so you can go and enter different rooms based on your interests in your hallway. So there's just a lot of new things to learn and navigate, but I have found it to be an incredible resource and an incredible way to foster connection in a time where it's been so difficult to do that. Like, we haven't had networking events, conferences. I mean, we can barely hang out with friends. It's been a really tough year for especially really social people. So I love Clubhouse. I love what it's brought people. It's a sense of community. And especially in cannabis, community is everything. So as you enter different rooms on the app, you can, like for me, there's rooms that I'm interested in around cannabis, crypto, art, media, anything, endometriosis, yoga. There's all sorts of different things with tons of different speakers. So when you enter a room, you are a listener. And there's different tiers. So you have the stage where your speakers and moderators are. And then there's a second one where it's people who are followed by the speakers. And then there's just the general listeners. Now you can raise your hand when there's an option to and go up to speak. And depending on like what's going on with different rooms, some of them are like hosted more like panels. Some of them are just a free flow of conversation. Each one is structured so differently. So especially if you're really creative, this is going to be an incredibly amazing outlet for you, because there's so many different ways to use it and so many different ways people are learning to use it. And I find it fascinating. I love it. Can you guys tell that I really like Clubhouse? So for me personally, when I got on in November, and I was a little skeptical, as I am of every app, but also as someone in this industry, you have to be agile and open to new things and open to new ways to being creative. Then I started my own room. It was a how to enter the cannabis industry room, and it ended up taking off. There have been thousands of people who have been listening in to these different rooms, and tons of really cool moderators and speakers and people participating from every edge of the industry, from marketing to cultivation, policy, CEOs, founders, farmers. It's incredible, the connections I've been making here. It's better honestly than any cannabis conference I've been to, and it's so intentional. The best ways to use the app is in an intentional manner. I definitely see a lot of people who are using it for growth hacking, and I mean, I get it, you do you, but it's a really great app to truly find connections and network with the people who are like-minded, or going to help you get further in your project or goals, or vice versa. So I absolutely recommend making sure that when you sign up, your name that you sign up with is your full real name or what people recognize you by. Also, make sure that your bio is you're coming correct. Like, it doesn't have to be a full resume, but whatever you want to connect with people there on, make sure it's on there. Say it. Say what you want. It's like the best time to be rewarded for that. Also, be aware of who you nominate. So, in Clubhouse, you can see who nominates you. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you the app. That's probably a much better way to do this anyway. Any excuse to go on Clubhouse. Oh, and it looks like I have invites. So this is my profile on Clubhouse. You can see I have my bio set up, and then at the bottom, it says who nominated you to be in the app. And basically, one hack also to find like really cool people here is to go through those nominations. Because it's so new, you can go back to the first person who, didn't even need a nomination, essentially. It'll stop showing up, and you can find really cool people that way, whether they're directors or CEOs or, founders of the app, even some of the original team members. It's so cool to fall down a rabbit hole and just find, again, using this to find like-minded individuals so that you can better connect. So it's also really important to be mindful about who you nominate because, people can see that, and it is like a networking event. And so you want to make sure that the person you're nominating into the space is a good person to nominate because your name is attached to them. And if they say something that might be off color, like your name is attached to that, then essentially who you're co-signing for, make sure you're really thinking about that. And another thing as well, make sure you're also linking your Twitter and your Instagram. Those are the only accounts right now that you can actually link in your bio of Clubhouse. And there's no messaging features or anything. So if you want to get in touch with people, also add your email. But it's just so much easier to go in, click their Instagram, and send them a DM. That's how I've been doing most of my correspondence. Lastly, I think one of the biggest things on Clubhouse is, of course, the clubs and rooms that you join. So if you're in cannabis, definitely put it down as an interest and make sure that you're following, people in this space that are also into that too. And you'll get a notification if they start or enter a room, or people can ping you to rooms if, they know that you're someone who wants to be there within the cannabis space. I just got a ping for a room just now, and I'm probably I'm like, I need to go in, but it's just a really cool way to connect with people, especially in the cannabis space, because it's a place where you can be open and not as scared as, a lot of people are on other social media platforms. And so I definitely recommend looking out for the room, how to enter the cannabis industry, of course, and also join the smoking section. That's the club that John Capetta has and does the Wednesday night streams at 4:20. And Andrew Berenger, I believe his name is. Andrew, please don't be mad at me if I butchered that. But he does an East Coast versus West Coast room, which is always really stimulating. And that's more toward policy and stuff like that. And another great club is just simply called Cannabis. And if you don't see a room for you, start your own and people will come in. If there's a topic that you want to talk about and engage people with, go for it. Make it, create it, do it yourself. And I'm sure people will come along, especially if it's a really good topic. You never know, I might pop in. So on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Busy at Work, and maybe I'll see you on Clubhouse. Thanks for joining.